This is so important. The Holocaust Remembrance Day. Never again. You've got to see this. Today, we're going to focus on the Holocaust Remembrance Day. It's actually pronounced Yom HaShoah. And we're going to talk about how important it is to remember what took place. But first, let's find out a little bit of history, just brief history of the horrific Holocaust. Let's take a look. A brief history of the Holocaust in World War II. In 1933, Adolf Hitler came to power in Germany. He believed that Germans were superior to others and Jewish people were the threat to the community. Hitler also targeted Poles, Romanians, blacks, Asians, homosexuals, and the disabled, basically anyone who was not pure German. Europe during World War II. Soon after becoming elected Chancellor, Hitler began taking rights away from Jews. In 1935, Jews lost their citizenship and the right to marry non-Jewish persons. In 1938, thousands of synagogues and Jewish businesses were destroyed. Over 30,000 have been arrested for no other reason than being Jewish. Bystanders pass a destroyed business. Jews were to wear stars as identification. All Jews had to wear the star or face arrest. A Jewish business is being marked by a Nazi soldier. Jews lived in constant fear. Hitler showed himself as a hero to the German. He was saluted and revered by many. As Germany conquered nearby countries, Jews throughout Europe were in danger. Jews in Eastern Europe were removed from their homes and forced to live in ghettos. People were not allowed to leave these ghettos. It was overcrowded and there was not enough food. Furniture was used for firewood. Children begged for food. In 1942, the German government began implementing the final solution to rid them of Jews. Jews were sent to concentration camps where they were either did manual labor till they died or sent directly to death. Cattle trains were used to transport the Jews. Auschwitz was the largest concentration camp. People were immediately selected for work or for death. Women had their heads shaved. Prisoners were beaten, tortured, and starved. Dead bodies were burned in crematoriums. By mid-1944, the final solution was nearly over. Remaining prisoners in camps were sent on death marches. Germany surrendered to the Allied forces on May 7th, 1945. An estimated 12 million people were murdered. It was the most horrific thing that you could even think about. And that's what we're remembering. That's what Israel remembers on this particular day each year. As a matter of fact, what they do is, here is talking about and showing you what takes place in Israel, where they actually play a siren where all the people in Israel, all the Jews in Israel stop and remember what? Remember exactly what we saw.
Today is Yom HaShoah. Israel's Holocaust Remembrance Day. I'm standing here on the roof of Honest Reporting's headquarters overlooking Jerusalem, and at exactly 10 o'clock, something incredible is going to happen. All over the whole country of Israel, sirens sound, and for exactly 2 minutes, everything stops.
That's horrific when you think about the Holocaust, but it's so important to remember. And notice how everybody stops and remembers and thinks back exactly what we just showed you, that brief snapshot of the horrific history. And it was somebody, understand, Hitler ran for office. He was the chancellor. They voted him in, which means you can vote evil in. So we have to stay on top of this. And I want you to get a different viewpoint, a different angle. As a matter of fact, imagine this camera angle when you're watching all over Israel, when they're honoring, and not honoring, but remembering the Holocaust and listening to that siren. This is a different angle. Take a look.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is so important. I'm so glad that they do that, to remember where they came from. We need to do that in America, because America was birthed through bloodshed, through fighting for our freedom, but we want to honor Israel. And when we see Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu standing up for Israel, he's standing up and saying, we don't ever want to see that again, not on my watch. That's what they're talking about. Listen, join us after the break, because after the break, we're going to hear President Trump as he actually has remarks on the Holocaust, and we're going to listen to a Holocaust survivor who was there in those camps. Join us after the break. This is a day where we're remembering the Holocaust, and you think about it, Israel does it once a year, and I mean, I just can't help but think, we forgot where we came from.
Yeah.
We forgot the struggles that we have had, and we need to learn. You can learn so much stuff from Israel. They're
amazing
so wise.
nation, isn't it?
Yeah, just
and we've had a lot of struggles. I mean,
Yeah.
it would take some time, but it's the appropriate thing to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they're so successful. One of the reasons why they're so successful and they're blessed is they take time, because things change.
Things change. Well, the museum, when you go to Washington, D.C., you see Lincoln, and you see different ones, but we need it needs to be right in front of us. As a matter of fact, President Trump, he actually has some remarks about the Holocaust and remembering it right now.
I am deeply honored to speak with you tonight as the World Jewish Congress gathers in New York City with the leaders from across the world. First, I want to thank Ronald Lauder, not only for his many years of friendship, and he truly has been my good friend. He even predicted early that I was going to win the presidency, but also for his leadership of this organization. He's done a fantastic job. Today we're reminded of this organization's long and heroic history fighting for the Jewish people. Your brave leaders warned the world of the planned atrocities that sought to extinguish an entire people. On Yom HaShoah, we look back at the darkest chapter of human history. We mourn, we remember, we pray, and we pledge, never again, I say it, never again. The mind cannot fathom the pain, the horror, and the loss. 6 million Jews, 2/3 of the Jews in Europe, murdered by the Nazi genocide. They were murdered by an evil that words cannot describe and that the human heart cannot bear. On this Holocaust Remembrance Day, we tell the stories of the fathers, mothers, and children whose lives were extinguished and whose love was torn from this earth. We also tell the stories of courage in the face of death, humanity in the face of barbarity, and the unbreakable spirit of the Jewish people. Today, only decades removed from the Holocaust, we see a great nation risen from the desert, and we see a proud Star of David waving above the state of Israel. That star is a symbol of Jewish perseverance. It's a monument to unyielding strength. We recall the famous words attributed to Theodor Herzl, "If you will it, it is no dream." If you will it, it is no dream. Jews across the world have proved the truth of these words day after day. In the memory of those who lost, we renew our commitment and our determination not to disregard the warnings of our own times. We must stamp out prejudice and anti-Semitism everywhere it is found. We must defeat terrorism, and we must not ignore the threats of a regime that talks openly of Israel's destruction. We cannot let that ever even be thought of. To all of you tonight who have come from around the world, let it be known, America stands strong with the state of Israel. The meaning of that state for so many is captured by the words of a German Jewish musician. Escaping Germany before 1937, he settled in the ancient land of Israel. Sometime later, he received a visit from a British official who found him living in a hut with only his piano for company. The official recognized the musician, and he said, "This must be a terrible change for you." The musician looked back at him and replied, "It is a change from hell to heaven." Many of you here today help fulfill the same dream, the dream of Israel for millions, a dream that burned in the hearts of oppressed and fallen, and which now draws the breath of life from a joyous people each and every day. Thank you for your leadership, for your service, and for your vision of a world that is a more free, just, and peaceful place for all of God's people. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Well, I'll tell you what, this President Trump is just standing up for America, standing up for Israel. He's great friends with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and I'm so grateful that he's remembering the Holocaust and the evil that it was, and that we don't want to repeat it again. And one of the prophetic words that was given by Pastor John Kilpatrick of Church of His Presence, that God spoke to him, that God was raising up President Donald Trump and giving him generals to protect Israel so that that wouldn't happen again.
To keep the Jews there.
Right, right. We're remembering the Holocaust, and you had a chance to go to the museum.
Yes.
I think we went to New York.
New York and in Israel.
And I've been to the one in Israel and D.C., I believe. Yeah.
And New York. We went together.
Oh, that's right, New York. That's right. And it just rips you apart.
Yeah.
But it's so important to remember, because if you don't remember history, you're doomed to repeat it.
Doomed to repeat it. At the same time, we have leaders around the world, believe it or not, who actually tried to deny that this event actually
And we just
happened.
showed evidence just in a short period of time. I mean, when people deny your pain, watch out, they're about to cause you some more pain.
That's right.
It's so important to remember from where you came from. You see some actors and you see some people that do good in life, they actually go back to where they came from.
Yeah.
To remember where they came from. They say, don't forget where you came from, and some people do. But we have to remember, because we'll end up there again. As a matter of fact, we almost were headed in that direction. This is a Holocaust survivor, John. And she's being interviewed and asked these questions, and we need to listen to her because she went through this. And there's nothing better than hearing directly from the person that went through this and how horrific it is that we don't want to repeat that. And she talks specifically too about, that Israel deserves its own state. It has to have its own state. There's no other place for the Jews to be in the context of their own nation to be protected. And that's why Israel has to stand, and we have to stand with Israel, because they're being persecuted in other lands. As a matter of fact, it's gone up even higher. Lately, the numbers have as well. Including Christians. I think Christians now are higher than the Jews being persecuted. But listen, I want you to hear, this is a Holocaust survivor.
Hey everyone, today I'm with a very special guest, a Holocaust survivor called Ida Greenberg.
Yes.
Yes? She survived Lodz Ghetto in Poland. She's 95 years old. I will be interviewing her, asking her a few questions that I had. את חשבת שאת תעברי את השואה בשלום?
אף אחד לא ידע מה שהיה גיהנום. אז אף אחד לא ידע מה יהיה מחר. גיטלר, בשביל מה הוא קם? הוא הרג מיליונים יהודים. אז מי ידע שיישאר בחיים?
What was your only wish at that time? Do you remember? Of course. I remember. I wanted to see my parents, but no. I didn't manage to see them. They came at night and took them, the Nazis, and I was left, a 15-year-old girl, alone. And I cried and cried, and I thought, what will happen? How can I know? It was impossible to know. Who will even stay alive? It was very hard. What would you tell people that deny the Holocaust? People who say it never happened. No. There's no such thing. It happened. And in every family of survivors, there is a remaining wound. How can someone say that it didn't happen? What is the importance of the state of Israel in your opinion? The state of Israel should exist. And it's the place of the Jews. We don't have another place in the world like Israel. What can we do? This is our home. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. You're welcome. And for answering the questions. I wish only health. Thank you very much.
Oh my goodness, you just want to be able to give her a big hug and just love on her, and it's just so huge. I mean, she survived that.
95 years old.
And she was 15, right, when her parents were taken away and her friends were taken away, just because you're a Jew. And you have to understand that there's a reason why that people who are controlled by darkness hate Christians and Jews, because God loves you. God's got a plan for you. They can join in, but they have to deny their gods and make, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob their God through his son, Jesus Christ. And so it's just, I just thank God that they're remembering. We're remembering today. We want you to remember as well. And thank you for watching VFNtv. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Also, if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe. A lot of people want to abide with the Lord, but they just don't have a plan to do it. You can request that plan today at iabide.org. Don't forget you can join us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Download our app and sign up for our newsletter, The Torch, at VFNtv.com.